Okay, it's Monday morning and it's relatively cool in the shop, so I'm going to try to hammer out disassembling this bike before it gets too dang hot in here. So anyway, I'm going to set the camera up, we're just going to time lapse it and get this thing blown apart, and then we'll tune back in after that. Okay, as you saw, we got the head off, and it's probably hard to tell, but in here the gasket seems a little bit more I don't want to call it chewed up, but there's definitely more like material missing out of the middle, like it's had a variance in temperature perhaps, or something's been moving by it, obviously. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the head gasket off, and then we'll look at the bottom of it, see what that looks like. I didn't see any discoloration on the head itself, like any obvious like blow by or anything like that between the cylinders or whatnot. So I'm gonna keep taking it apart, pull the jug off real quick, and then we'll be done with teardown. Alright, so we got the cylinders off, and then I have my rag stuff to keep the pistons isolated from hitting the aluminum and any sharp edges. So before I pull the rings off, I need to measure the gap between the ring and the ring groove on everything, and just to be sure and compare it to the specs to see if that's weird. Then we will pull the actual rings off, and then I'm going to compare the free gap that they have and just see if maybe the rings are just not, they don't have as much spring left in them, so there's not enough ring tension, even though the gap might clear out or be within spec. And then I might go ahead and just pull the pistons off just to clean them. But as far as any broken rings or anything, I can't, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing any obvious signs, so I'm still leaning towards head gasket. None of the rings are like clocked in with the groove right above one another. I make sure to assemble it with the gap offset where it needs to be. So anyway, at least we're not seeing an issue there. So real quick, I just wanted to talk about organization when doing something like this. Now, it may be a given, this might be simple stuff, but I like these basically like tackle boxes or organizational trays that you get from like Walmart or Harbor Freight or something like that, because even though you're dropping like 20 bucks on, say, a setup like this, it sure as hell beats, like what if you're doing this and you're going through an entire engine teardown and you lose a camshaft cap? What if you misplace it or damage it or something like that, or you lose just a copper washer there? So you're gonna, you would easily surpass the money you would spend on that on a replacement part should you lose it or damage it. And it's just great to keep organized, and then it makes assembly just so much easier. So can't preach these enough. But yeah, I use these a lot, and then I actually just picked these up from Walmart, and they're locking, so you can lock container to container, So I might continue to buy up some of these things and then just have like, just have a big old stack of them. But they seem pretty handy so far. But I've always used stuff like this. I don't ever want to lose anything, so those are very important to me. That and Ziploc bags. So whenever you're tearing something down, put it in a Ziploc bag, write what it is on the bag, and then you can keep that with your other parts. And that's just another trick right there, another tip. So, organization. Okay, so we're working on the engine here, and I've actually taken the cylinder head and the jugs and the pistons to a machine shop. We've measured everything, looked for ovaling in the bore, looked for any kind of distortion, mic'd the pistons, and we can't find any warpage anywhere. So what we're thinking is that it really was a head gasket failure here. The rings could have potentially been a little bit weak. They measure out, but you know what? Went ahead and got some new rings on order. But I traditionally don't coat the head gaskets in anything. They have like a graphite coating on them. But I don't know. If I coated it, I'd have people saying you shouldn't coat it, and if I don't coat it, people are gonna be like, you should have coated it. So, unless you have like just absolute concrete information on that, I'm gonna just kind of continue doing what I'm doing. I will try coating the next one with some copper coat. But yeah, until then though, until reassembly, I am going through and I'm just cleaning everything, checking the scraping the gasket surfaces with a Goodson super scraper. So just a carbide scraper, has a perfectly flat surface here. Way better than a razor blade as far as ease of use, and then you prevent any kind of gouging. So I don't know, I'll put a link to it in the bottom, but I highly recommend one of these things. I use it all the time, and especially makes life easy on like thinner surfaces here. So like a thinner gasket surface, trying to take a razor blade to this, it's just going to be really difficult, but I can just lay this flat on here and get it nice and clean. They just work really, really well. But yeah, these smaller, like your valve cover gasket surfaces and stuff like that, that's where these things really shine. So I highly recommend picking one up.